Hey guys, Dr. Caffery here. Today I'm going to continue to discuss hidden causes of fatigue. Hidden cause number 3, blood sugar imbalance. So this is a common thing I see in practice, are blood sugar swings either too low or too high that result in fatigue. So let's talk about low blood sugar first. So when blood sugar is too low, that's called hypoglycemia. And what constitutes low blood sugar is different for different individuals. So this is one of the reasons this is hidden or not commonly recognized. On a traditional lab panel, you might not be diagnosed as having low blood sugar until your glucose is below, say, 65. But in reality, some people might start expressing symptoms of low blood sugar when their blood sugar gets below, say, 85 or 80 or 75. So it's kind of an individual thing. So with low blood sugar, typical symptoms are things like shakiness, lightheadedness, irritability, fatigue relieved by eating. So if you are tired and you eat and your fatigue gets better, that's a sign that your blood sugar was previously low. That's a sign of hypoglycemia. So what about high blood sugar? Well, blood sugar that goes too high is commonly caused by something called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is when your cells are resistant to a hormone called insulin. So one of insulin's jobs is to get glucose or sugar into your cells. And it does so by interacting with these receptor sites on the cell surface. If the cells become resistant to insulin, they don't listen to it, then it can't effectively get the sugar into the cells. So what happens is your blood sugar levels start to rise because it can't go inside the cells. So when you have excess blood sugar in your body's going to try to get rid of it. And one of the ways it does this is by converting it into fat. So the excess glucose will be converted into fat, and that process is heavily dependent upon energy. It utilizes a great deal of energy resources. So if you eat and you're insulin resistant and your blood sugar spikes up too high, then you can start to convert that excess sugar into fat, and that can give you fatigue. So that would be in contrast to low blood sugar. This time eating would actually induce fatigue. So another common thing we see with insulin resistance is eating induces cravings for sweets or carbohydrates. That's another signal that the body is really has a desire to get sugar into the cells. It can't get the sugar into the cells because they're insulin resistant, so you have those physiologic cravings. So to summarize, blood sugar that's too low can induce fatigue, and you eat and the fatigue gets better, or blood sugar that's too high can actually induce fatigue because your body's trying to get rid of the excess sugar and it converts it into fat, and that requires a lot of energy. So what causes high or low blood sugar? Well, a common cause is insulin resistance. So you have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, which is caused by insulin resistance. You have prediabetes, which is caused by insulin resistance, and then you have early insulin resistance. I see a lot of individuals that have early insulin resistance. Maybe they have some post-meal fatigue or post-meal sweet cravings, and they're just starting to have some fluctuations of the blood sugar as a result of that. That's one thing that I commonly see. With low blood sugar, that can oftentimes be caused by just not taking in enough fat, protein, or fiber. So sometimes it's a dietary thing. Maybe you're missing meals, or maybe you're skipping breakfast, something like that. And an individual that has a tendency towards low blood sugar, that's a bad idea. Another common thing I see with low blood sugar is individuals have low cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone, and one of cortisol's jobs is to maintain your blood sugar when you're not eating. So if the cortisol levels are low, you'll have less of a threshold to go without eating. You can't go very long without eating. Perhaps you have to eat frequently or your blood sugar drops. So other symptoms of low cortisol are things like fatigue or things like salt cravings. With cortisol that's low, if it dips out more in the afternoon time, sometimes we get afternoon slumps and fatigue. If it's low in the morning, sometimes we have trouble getting out of bed. Cortisol is a hormone that maintains our circadian rhythm. It should be high in the morning and kind of low at night. We'll talk more about that on another occasion. Okay, so blood sugar that's high or low can be hidden cause for fatigue. You need to work with a practitioner that can help you identify if these things are contributing to your fatigue. I'm Dr. Caffery. Thank you so much for listening.